Hey guys, this is UC from iTradePrice, July 4th. It's a holiday, markets are closed. Good day to kind of catch up on some sleep and review the charts. So without further delay, let us dig in. Okay, let's start with QQQ. So we had a monthly bar close as well, right, a few days ago. So let's just kind of take a look at what's going on a higher time frame. So QQQ, right? It's been an absolutely bull run since the start of the year, right? Since the start of the 2023. We have not seen any significant pullbacks, monthly bars, higher highs, higher lows. So from the structure perspective, this is where the price struggled, right? 371, 373. We would see some top wicks in the monthly bar and the price would just get rejected. So right now, if we have a nice monthly close, and if I dig into a weekly view, you can see every time we were trading in this zone right here, right, around 372, 373, we would get a rejection and a top wick, and the price would not stay there for a long time, right? Whereas this time around, price has been accepted in this sort of area, right? So from that perspective, price acceptance, no downside follow through to any red week, right? So those kind of things are just healthy from price action perspective and does tell you that buyers are still in control. So the next level to break for us would be on the bullish side would be like 373, right? That's where we saw all these top fakes and price get rejected from. Above that we have 390, right, on a weekly time frame. That's where we have the top fake, and then the significant level around 404.6 or 405 if you just want to round it off. So that would be the ultimate target if this keeps pushing up, right? From pullback perspective, let's take in a look at the daily view. So we got some pullback from 372, right? We got some nice healthy pullback, but it maintained the structure because on the way up, this area was resistance. So that kind of provided some support, right? We did not really spend much time around this area when we saw this dip, and we quickly recovered, right? So if I drill to, let's say, a 4-hourly view, you can clearly see the resistance and support line is pivot, you can say, is right here, right? Because this was the resistance on the way up. Every time price would want to go up from here, from over here, it would just kind of keep on getting rejected. We saw a nice gap up, and then it did not come down at all. We just saw a nice gap up, and it held the price, right, the structure. So now the value to target on the upside is definitely could be this 372.9 area. Okay, all right. Okay, let's check in SPY, right? That's another important index a lot of people like to follow. So let's go to monthly view, right? Oops, that's not a monthly view. All right. I think it's definitely nice bullish month, right? We saw, oh my God, why is my mouse giving me trouble here? So you can see we had this for a longer period of time. This 416, right, was resistance, and on top of that we have two touch points around 430, right, over here. So that area got broken, and the price nicely and handsomely closed way above that, right? So it still needs to make its way towards 460. So from that perspective, QQQ has been a little bit more stronger, right? Because from that perspective, we're right here from QQQ perspective. That's where from the structure perspective, we're already here. So it's just a little bit lagging behind, but it's catching up. So let's take a look at the weekly view, right? Still in a nice up channel, higher highs. 430 is the level that it broke out of, and now it has held that support multiple times in the past few weeks or over a month, right? So let's see if we pull back. I think the pullback could be a gap fill, right? This 438 438 level, that was the resistance, and we gapped up and held that support, held that gap, and now if it wants to dip down, that could be a good gap fill sort of a play, right? And if you want to draw some sort of a smaller time frame trend line, this could be something like that, right? Gap fill plus uptrend line, so multiple scenarios that can play out on a pullback. All right, Apple. Weekly view, this has been again a very strong chart, all-time highs right now we're talking, and 200 looks like it's in the cards, right? The way it has held, and no bearish week sees any downside follow through, right? It even explodes further up. So still, structure perspective, trend perspective, everything is intact. And if we drill to a daily view, right, pullback level can be again the gap fill level right here, which is around 190, 189.5. That can be a gap fill level. If it wants to further go down a little bit, this area right here around 188 was sort of a resistance, so that can be a good pullback, a healthy pullback in terms of when it wants to, because from swing perspective, it's just from risk and reward perspective, this is not an area where you kind of open your swing, right? So you always want to give yourself some cushion. So from that perspective, yes, you want to wait for a pullback, and who knows how long that will take. But from intraday perspective, yeah, you have these levels, key levels to trade against. Okay, Amazon looking nice still, very slow chart, but it looks like it's building, right? It's building its base right now. From monthly perspective, let's take a look. The structure high, it has already, from monthly perspective, it's already kind of broken the downtrend line, right? And it's nicely given us a follow through as well. So now from that perspective, I think this level could be in play, because this was the support for a long period of time. Once we broke down, we tested that level again. So that could be a good level to target on any upside, 146, 147, kind of that level, right? On a monthly time frame. Weekly time frame, still nicely building, higher highs, higher lows, very slow chart. So if you want to get into some long dated call options, that's fine, because it's just not exploding like other tech, high flying names like that, right? So, but still, from structure perspective, it's fine. There's no weakness in the chart, right? If I look at the daily view, if you get a pullback into the lower end of this up channel, right, something like 127, 126, that could be an entry point right here, right? That's the level that matches with this uptrend line in the lower time frame. Okay, all right, let's look at Tesla, everybody's favorite. What's going on in Tesla in a monthly view? So, wow, nice push all the way from 195 to almost 280, right? Almost like $90 up move in the past month. So that's a good, nice move. Earnings probably coming up soon as well, maybe in a little less than 2 weeks. So from structure perspective, again, 318, 320, which is this level where we have all these monthly bars, touch points right here, right? Quite a few 3 touch points. So that could be your target. Ultimately on a higher time frame, right? In a weekly time frame, I'd say if we keep pushing up, we saw a nice gap up yesterday. If it keeps going up, this trend line on a higher time frame, which is like around 296, 297, could be a target. Anything above that, 318, 320 is your target. On a pullback, we have a gap fill that we can look for. If I go into daily time frame, right, a gap fill play, right? Because when we saw this big bearish bar, right, price rejection, right, we saw the move down towards this gap, right, and then we saw a nice move up. We saw the price pause here, and then we saw a gap up after the delivery numbers, right? So it managed to close above 277, so that's a nice bullish sign that it wants to continue its way up. But of course, pullback can be in play, but from that perspective, 266, 267 could be your gap fill play. Anything above it wants to keep breaking higher, 296, and then 320 sort of looks like the number to target. Microsoft, I don't know, it stays fine, but I don't know, it's just not giving me any setup right now to trade, right? It's just kind of stuck because we have all this price structure that provided resistance, so we're kind of right there. Sure, if it wants to keep going higher, 351.7, 352 would be the level to break above, but I like to see some pullback towards 322, maybe 313, right? That was the level it was resistance, so now that can be a good pullback support level before it wants to go higher, right? So just waiting for that kind of, if you want to swing this name, right? Intraday, sure, we again can have multiple ways to play this name, 4-hourly chart, but it's just not, I don't know, not giving me a good read and perspective of trading intraday, right? But if you want to try, I would say this area right here, 342. Let me bring in the levels. So yeah, 342.7. That looks like the next resistance that price would like to break out of in order to kind of run higher, because maybe this is sort of a smaller time frame inverted head and shoulders, with 342.7 being the neckline. Okay. Google. Let's check it out. Monthly view looks nice actually. Kind of bullish, right? Nice backing in the monthly time frame. The last time we traded here, we would see some quick rejections, right? So right now, price is maintaining its structure above that, right? So that's a good, healthy sign. So I actually have some long dated call options on this name, like I think it will make its way to 143, 144. Let's look at weekly view. So this is the uptrend line, right? We saw a nice break above 116 right here a few weeks ago, actually a couple of months ago, and then it was kind of stall, right? We did play some rejection here, if you remember, a couple of weeks ago from 126, 127, because price was having hard time maintaining its structure above that. So that, and top wicks, all that. So now I think 116 and above keeps the scenario bullish for this name, and then it can ultimately, if I check out a daily view, we just have to get above this downtrend line right here. This one right here, right? Maintain some structure above that, maybe see a little bit of pullback, and then try to target 126.5 ultimately, right? Gap fill can be a play as well if we open higher, and then gap fill, and see a nice bounce from there. All right, Netflix. Check out at a weekly view. All right, so nice up channel, right? Getting above 396, 400 was a good sort of a momentum move, right? We had some of these rejections previously. It maintained it once it broke out. It maintained that structure, and now it looks like could be flagging, right? No bearishness in the chart, right? If I go into this daily time frame, looks like we are at the top of this potential bull flag, right? If it breaks out, 458 definitely in cards. If it wants to break down from a swing perspective, right, good area to get long, it would be between 420 and 410, because something like that can be in cards, right? And this could be your stop loss, right? Because that's where that's the price above which the structure remains bullish. Okay, let's take a look at one more, Nvidia. Again, on a higher time frame, yes, bullish, all that stuff is good, but it's kind of stalled since the past few weeks now, right? Yes, you get dips and it gets bought, but buying it over here at the top end of this recent range is not a smart move. So, keep on looking for pullbacks into support levels and things like that. But if I read this right now, the price itself, right, we saw this nice move to the upside. We maintained support for a few days. Once we broke down from there, we did not see any downside follow through, right? In fact, the price kind of maintained that structure around 405, 410, and then we saw some move to the upside. But still, I think for a bigger time frame to get bullish again, or some momentum back in the name, we really need to get above 430, because that's where we have these sort of couple of touch points where the price would not get above. So again, we stalled right there this past week as well, even yesterday. And then, so if it can get above that, 440 is in the play. Otherwise, if we break below 415, right, that's where some stops could be sitting for people who got long on this break, and then we can kind of fall back down. All right. So that's it, guys. Hope you guys like this little clip. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, please do not hesitate to contact me. All right. Thank you, guys, and have a good rest of your July 4th.